Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 7th, and today we're going to take a look at all this cold air moving over the Pacific Northwest. As you can see, the system that moved through yesterday now pushing off through Montana. It's going to spawn some severe weather through the Dakotas and Nebraska. This produced a tornado near Spokane yesterday. We'll look at some of those conditions a little bit closer here, and we'll compare them to what we're going to get here the next few days. You can see this next system out over the Pacific Ocean here. It's going to dive down into Oregon and California and keep us in a very cool troughy pattern here, and some mountain snows, and probably going to get some breezy conditions through this afternoon through portions of western Washington, eastern Washington, Oregon, and down the Strait of Juan de Fuca as well. Some gusts up towards 40 miles an hour can be expected. Then we'll take a look on into next week and next weekend, the extended forecast. We'll try to get some model agreement on what's coming up and see just how long we're going to remain in this below average temperature regime across the Pacific Northwest. So taking a look at this yesterday was from my house. You can see enough shear in the atmosphere to cause some structure to these showers as they moved through the area yesterday. And we did have a tornado through Spokane. This is all over social media now. Brian Stern there out in Spokane. There was some damage associated with this as well. Now, taking a look at this, you could see some of the instability. This is taken from a sounding in Oregon. You can see it does say that there would be a tornado hazard with this, and it was correct. You can see the really good instability axis here. You can see the atmosphere really cool off as you come off the surface here. So you got that low-level instability and that really good rising, that parcel of air as it moves up is going to be much warmer than the surrounding atmosphere. So it's going to give a good rise to that and bring that thunderstorm activity and that low level stretching that caused that tornado just west of Spokane there. So looking around the rest of the country as well, we'll go back to the Pacific Northwest here in a second. You can see the fire danger continues down there through the southern southwest areas. Excessive heat warning through areas of Texas. And you can see we did have some flooding hydraulic concerns here across portions of northeast Oregon into Idaho with the thunderstorm activity. This rainfall is going to continue on through the day today. See this winter weather advisory for the Oregon Cascades down through southern Oregon here into northern California. And this is a National Weather Service Spokane highlighting again thunder chances today. Gusty winds, brief downpours, small hail, and lightning would be the main concerns with this. There should not be a significant tornado threat today. We do not have the same dynamics as we did yesterday. It's not quite as unstable. Now, looking down towards Las Vegas, if you're heading down towards Vegas again, some really good winds are going to be moving through here through Saturday through Monday here as that storm system dives down through Southern California. So heads up if you're traveling down there. This is going to go also for portions of Southern California, Los Angeles. The beach area should be getting some pretty good winds as well, too, as well as the desert areas, Ontario, Palm Springs, for example. Now, this is looking at McCarran. You can see some of these gusts might get towards 50 miles per hour. So heads up if you're traveling down there, desert Southwest, Los Angeles, Southern California. This is looking out over the Dakotas today. You can see there is a tornado threat out here as well. If we click on that, just across North and South Dakota here, and then a slight area there. Washington, Oregon coast, chance for a thunderstorm today. And I would extend that even inland towards Portland, Seattle as well. There's no reason a thunderstorm couldn't stray in here also. And you can see that general threat as well for eastern Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Tomorrow, this is going to include most of the region here, mainly Seattle southward with a general thunderstorm threat as we continue to get this cold air pumped in over the Pacific Northwest. Day 3, this will be mainly Oregon on to Idaho, Montana. We'll see if this changes as the system dives down through California and Nevada. And there will be a marginal risk out here through Iowa. This will probably be upgraded, I have a feeling, here in the next couple of days. So heads up, severe weather season is underway, and then this goes on into the following day, Tuesday, down into Texas. So back to the Pacific Northwest here. You can see Seattle well below average again yesterday, only 55, 90 degrees below average at this point, and a lot of rain fell yesterday. A lot of rain's falling today as well. So our second winter continues here for the Pacific Northwest. Now, taking a look at the wind field, you can see we do get some gusty winds coming in late morning and through this afternoon across the Puget Sound, eastern Washington, Oregon, and down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, some pretty good winds going into Whidbey Island and the San Juans here. And as we go on into Sunday, you see that system drop down through California, and you can see why all that wind is happening down there through Nevada, the deserts, all the way on the coastlines down towards Los Angeles. And then finally that system will kick out and we'll be left in this deep trough position. We'll probably have another reinforcing shot of cold air move down the British Columbia coast into the Pacific Northwest midweek this week. We'll take a look at that here in a second. Now, this is yesterday. You can see this instability that really built up across eastern portions of Washington and Oregon and through the Willamette Valley as well. And if we put this into motion, you can see that instability as it went through the afternoon yesterday. And as we go on to today, this instability will build back up again. That's what's bringing that thunderstorm threat, mainly for eastern Washington, Oregon, and a bit for the coastal areas of Washington and Oregon as well. And I think that probably could be extended into the central Puget Sound area also. But the instability, you'll notice, isn't quite as extreme as it was yesterday. We had some pretty good areas of instability and a little bit better shear yesterday also. So we're not going to repeat tornadoes today, I do not believe. There's always a chance for a funnel cloud, but I don't think we're going to get a damaging tornado such as we did yesterday. Now, going into Sunday, you'll see the system dive down into Oregon and California, and it keeps us unstable throughout most of western Washington, Oregon, and on eastern Washington, Idaho, and Montana as well, as we're going to be under this cold air aloft, which creates that lapse rate. The strong May sun does make it through the clouds, and it will warm that surface up a bit, so we will continue to get this instability and a chance of a thunderstorm, mainly isolated, though, on through the day Sunday. Now checking out the European here, this is the most recent run, the 06Z of last night. You can see a system diving down into Oregon and California. Look at this, mountain snows are going to be continuing to pile up across the region. And then as we go on into Tuesday, you can see the next system taking shape here across the Gulf of Alaska. This is going to make its way down towards western Washington, and we'll take a look at that here in a second as well. I wanted to show you the wind gust swath potential here today. Look at this, gusting up towards 36, maybe 40, just east of Seattle here and down the Strait of Juan de Fuca here. So it's going to get breezy this afternoon. We're in the wake of this system here, and there's going to be a decent pressure rise that's going to bring this wind. And look at the east slopes of the Cascades of Oregon, Washington, in through eastern Washington. You might even get some blowing dust with this as these gusts come roaring through there. You can see some of these areas up towards 50 miles per hour even. So heads up for that if you're traveling eastbound into eastern Oregon or Washington from the metro areas of Willamette Valley and Puget Sound. Now this is taking a look here at the North Pole. There's Alaska, there's Washington, there's Hawaii. And I just show you guys this for general awareness. You can see the cold air that gets associated with the North Pole here. It just doesn't get heated like the equatorial regions do. So there's this constant balance, like I said yesterday, that the Earth just cannot achieve. And you can see these waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, generally 6 at a time, are kind of rotating around the polar vortex up over the North Pole here. And you can see this persistent troughing associated. We're just going to continue to be bombarded with this cold air, and you can see the next system bringing another shot of cold air down towards the Pacific Northwest here as this one swings up over the Rockies into the tornado alley, and probably going to bring some severe weather in through next week. But it's going to keep us here in the Pacific Northwest very chilly. And then you can see more cold air spill out over the Gulf of Alaska and try to make its way into the Pacific Northwest as well. So we're going to continue this active pattern through probably next week and all the way into the following week, early week. And you can see, you know, this is still the time of year where the polar vortex still has some strength up here, and it can spin these cold air systems down towards us. We're going to get away from that, of course, when summer happens, as the sun's rays start to move up on, on the northern hemisphere here, and it warms the northern portion of the planet. And then winter comes to the southern hemisphere at this point, and their polar vortex over Antarctica will start to strengthen, and ours will weaken. And that's why our systems become much more weak in the summer, and we get much less precipitation here in the Pacific Northwest. So taking a look at 18,000 feet here, you can see the trough moving through the area today. That's going to cause our windy conditions as this system moves through and the pressure rise behind it. Here comes the next system rolling down through Sunday into California. And if we put this into motion here, you'll notice this next system drop down out of the north. Another chilly upper level low coming through later next week. And this is late Thursday here. And this was the most recent European run. Let's back this up a little bit here if we can. It's not letting me, so we won't do that for now. We'll check out the GFS though here. This is the 12Z. You can see the system rolling through all the way down through Northern California here as we go on in through the day Sunday. And look at this trough just open up across much of the West Coast. Reinforcing shot. Remember, the European picked this out first. Several days ago, we talked about this. The European had this system moving down. The GFS did not. And it had a ridge building up over the area. And that's kind of why the European gets that reputation of being a little bit better of a weather model. It picked this system out earlier than the GFS did. And then you can see the cold air spill out over the Gulf of Alaska and keep us maybe in kind of a zonal flow with precipitation and clouds around the area on through next weekend, as it looks like it's trying to spin weak systems towards us and then maybe even a stronger system after that. So warm weather lovers, I know a lot of people are getting bummed out about this cold weather, but we have to take this as it comes, and it looks like it might be hanging around through next weekend and even on into early next week. There's still plenty of time for that to change, but there is some model agreement on this troughing continuing on in through the extended. And then, of course, always out in fantasy land, the GFS tries to paint a rosy picture, but very low confidence in this ridge at this point. We'll have to watch to see how this evolves. This is the Canadian model. Put this into motion here. You can see the trough just really open up over us here, going on in through, this is Sunday night into Monday morning, and my models are loading a little bit slower today. You can see the next storm system taking shape here. So we've got good model agreement between the European, the GFS, and the Canadian, with this system moving down on in through mid and later next week here. So I don't think we're going to be able to escape this one here, folks. We're going to continue to be cold all the way in through next week, and so second winter continues, as you can see. Now, look at the GFS here. It does show us very chilly through Friday, and then it kind of tries to warm us up here, but I would not put any stock into this at this point, because it looks like this trough is going to be hanging around during this time period. There's always a chance that that trough holds up a little bit more and we do get some ridging and some warmer temperatures, but we'll take a look at that as it comes. As you can see, we have a whole nother week to go before we get to this point. The forecast is going to change in that meantime. This is the most recent European ensemble run. You can see just how darn cold we are going to be. In some cases, this is 13 degrees or 14 degrees below average at this point, going on in through later next week. So I've said it a couple times already, but second winter looks like it's going to hang on through this week here. Now, looking at this wind today, you can see the European says early afternoon we're going to get some gusty winds coming through the Puget Sound here. This is for SeaTac, and down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, this is going to translate into some winds into Whidbey Island for the San Juans there, and up across the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So there's going to be some 40-mile-per-hour gusts up there probably, especially up over the open water. And so, yeah, we're just going to continue this troughing, and we're going to watch this next system move down on in through next week and see what kind of storm system it could bring. It could also bring some more fairly strong thunderstorms, or relatively strong thunderstorms for our region. With that kind of cold air aloft moving down in here with a strong May sun, you start to get some sun breaks, and you can really destabilize the atmosphere at this time of year across the Pacific Northwest. So we'll watch that system for thunderstorm development, even strong thunderstorm development for portions of eastern Washington and Oregon especially, where this time of year, if you get these cold systems moving through, you can really get some strong systems in. As we saw yesterday, that did spawn that weak tornado in Spokane that did some damage. So check that out further on social media if you want. And we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll watch this system come down here. We'll check out the thunderstorm threat as well. Remember, there is a thunderstorm threat tomorrow for all of Western Washington, but mainly Seattle south. But really anywhere today could see, an isolated thunderstorm around the region. So heads up for that. And so we'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then. Leave a message down below. Click like. Make sure to subscribe. Join to become a member if you'd like. And I think in a couple of videos past, I had a description for my online merchandise store, which hopefully I'll be able to associate with the YouTube page soon, so we can get more of that gear out to everybody. But yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys later.